Hello, welcome to another CATIA or 3D Experience tutorial. Today I'm going to be going over the tools that you would find in your Sketcher app, and if it goes too long, I'll split this tutorial video into multiple parts, so just watch out for that. Um, yeah, before you go into your Sketcher app, which you would do by going to your Essentials tab and doing Position Sketch, I would also like to point out that you have these more rudimentary, isolated uh, reference elements, I'll call them. Let me just show you first how to put some on your screen over here. I don't have anything on my screen besides this one point, so the most straightforward way to put this point it would be with coordinate locations. But obviously you can see that there are different options, and I think most of these are very self-explanatory. So let me just do this for one example, right? And keep in mind you could also go back and edit it. And you could also change your reference point, your axis system. Let me show you an example of that. Let's say I want to create another point, but I want my origin for this point to actually be the first point that I made, right? You saw that point move because now it's with respect to another location, another origin. You could also change your axis system if you want to, um, for example, I could create a new axis system about that point. I could also use my Euler angles to rotate it. Let's say I want to rotate the angle 190 degrees. You can see that the coordinate system, you can see with respect to this global coordinate system, it has been rotated. So if you ever want to change that and make your features with respect to a new coordinate system, you can do that over there and it'll be defined over here as well. I'm gonna delete those for now. I can leave my point, that's fine. Same thing with the plane, right? Again, many different options. Most simple one right now would be just an offset. Again, pretty straightforward. Let's go into the Sketcher tool. From here, we can actually select a different origin point. For example, if I know that my sketch is going to be pretty simple, then I might want to create a different origin point so that my origin point sort of just makes intuitive sense and is close to where my sketch profile is. If I, for example, I could select a projection point to be there, and it will change my origin to be about that point once it is projected to my sketch face, which I just selected while opening this. Okay. And I could select these axes to actually orient myself so that it actually makes sense, the vertical and horizontal. But let me exit for now. I just want to point out that you can go into your reference or preferences here, and there are your options. You could change your color coding. You could change a lot of the default, I guess, options that it gives you for the Sketcher app. Just want to let you know that this is here. Again, I went to preferences and I went to app preferences, 3D modeling, then 3D modeling core, then Sketcher. Okay, close. I'll go back into a sketch. Select that plane, select the default origin. So once I go into my sketch toolbar over here, let me do something simple, right? And also whenever you have a drop down, you could explore what other options you have. We have a closed contour here, meaning that there's no breaks in my perimeter. We know that one, because it is shaded inside. It's darker inside than outside. And two, we can know that from going to our sketch analysis tool, and we have a closed contour here. If you have a line like that, then it should also show a open contour or open line profile, I guess. All right, looks good. Okay, let me just go through these, I guess, one by one. So let me go through these features, I guess, one by one. Profile allows you to create profiles using arcs and lines. To create a line, I'm clicking once, letting go, right? I let go and just moving my mouse. But if I wanted to create a arc that continues on from this, I would click, and while I'm holding my click, I drag, and then I let go. Then it creates an arc. you can see that it sort of snaps to the point of, I guess, when it's just 90 degrees. And then I click again and then let go, move my mouse, do the same thing, hold and drag, right? And I could create a closed contour like this. By default, it should be snapping to these, I guess, common points like 90 degrees up to a point, coincidence. And you could also change these features by uh, toggling the snap to point feature, these geometrical constraint features. Um, yeah, just letting you know. I think by default, I sort of turn off the snap to point. I think it was off. Yeah, but you can play around with that. It's mostly personal preference. It's fine also if you create an open contour with this profile. Before you close it, you would just press escape. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. Most simple one here would just be a centered rectangle. Let me clear space right now. Deleted. You have lines, different points. You could place them at more convenient points like intersections, equidistant. You have splines, more of a sort of your freeform style curves. Slots, and that's mainly what you would be working with. So let's go to some simple constraining right now. So simple lengths and sides. I could press constraint here and then press the line that I want to constrain. Or okay, so it's asking me to scale because it's the first thing that I'm measuring or constraining in the sketch. So it's just gonna like visually change it if I tell it to scale. So typically you could just say no and it'll be fine. It doesn't literally scale any of your measurements. It's just going to scale the visual elements that you see. Okay. Or alternatively, you could select a point and then go into constraint over here and then put in your value, 85, for example. And once this is color coded as such, then you could go into your analysis and confirm that it is ISO constrained, meaning that everything is no longer movable, and at the same time, it's not over constrained and you haven't overdone yourself with your measurements. Defining arc radiuses or radii. Defining an arc radius would be the same thing. I could click on here, constrain. And if I had multiple, for example, and I want it to be the same, then I could do multiple things. Let me give you some options. I could hold down this and hold down control and click this to select both of them and then go into constraints defined in a dialog box. And it will give me the different options that I have to constrain these two with respect to each other. So if I want them to have equal size, I click that here. Right, okay, it's telling me that this is basically just a preview. If I want to make them permanent, then I press OK. Notice that I haven't constrained my origin, so I could just move that around. If I click the origin and origin here, then notice that once I go into my constraints, then I could specify that I want to just constrain the vertical or horizontal purely one by one, right? So that sort of makes sure that they stay horizontal and vertical once you select them, 100. Right? Because sometimes if you don't do that and I move this around, then it might not be strictly horizontal. You could just delete this by clicking it, press delete. I'm going to delete these for now.